In a tense, softly lit studio filled with palpable anticipation, the stage was set for a live conversation that would soon become the talk of the town. The seasoned TV host welcomed the composed, Yale-educated attorney, Usha Vance, to a candid interview that promised to explore the intersection of personal life and high-stakes politics. Sitting across from him was Usha, whose calm demeanor and confident posture spoke volumes about her experience and resolve. Alongside her accomplishments as a respected attorney, she was known for her unwavering support for her husband, Senator Jonathan Daniel Vance, a man whose career in public service had often made headlines. From the outset, the conversation meandered through topics of current political debates, legislative priorities, and even lighthearted reminiscences of past professional challenges. The air was relaxed, with the host's questions initially designed to highlight Usha's impressive legal career and the shared values that helped build her life with Senator Jonathan Daniel Vance. However, as the dialogue progressed, the tone began to shift. Without warning, the host steered the discussion toward a subject that many in the audience would find both surprising and disconcerting. With a slight lean forward and a measured smile that barely concealed his intent, he asked, "Do you ever regret marrying your husband?" The question hung in the air like a loaded pause, thick with implications and unspoken assumptions. For a moment, silence reigned. The studio lights seemed to intensify, drawing every eye to Usha Vance, whose composed face betrayed nothing of the internal calculation taking place. Rather than scrambling for a quick retort or succumbing to traps set before her, she allowed the silence to stretch just a beat longer than expected. Slowly, with a measured smile that carried both defiance and grace, she responded, her voice steady and deliberate. Like and subscribe. In that single, impactful moment, Usha flipped the narrative entirely. She remarked, "I always find these kind of questions fascinating." Her tone was conversational, yet every word was laden with meaning. She explained that such inquiries were not born of genuine curiosity, but rather of a biased tradition that has long sought to undermine women in public life. "If I were to list the countless reasons why I love and respect my husband, Senator Jonathan Daniel Vance, and the values we share, it would be a testament to our partnership and resilience," she continued. Yet, even as she acknowledged her admiration for her husband, her retort carried an unspoken rebuke toward the media's persistent double standards. Like and subscribe. As the conversation deepened, Usha delved further into the complexities of balancing a demanding career with personal commitments. She spoke at length about the challenges of navigating public expectations, emphasizing that the scrutiny faced by political spouses was often unfairly magnified. "Imagine if a man were asked whether he regrets standing by his wife when her political opinions differ," she mused, her eyes locking with the host in a silent challenge. The question would hardly even be raised. Her words resonated not only with those who had felt the sting of gender bias, but also with anyone who had ever questioned the fairness of public discourse. The host, visibly thrown off by her unexpected turn of phrase, attempted to steer the conversation back on track. He raised a hypothetical scenario involving political compromises, suggesting that differing viewpoints might undermine the very foundation of a marital partnership. Yet Usha, with remarkable poise, countered that any relationship built on mutual respect is bound to encounter differences. "It is not the differences themselves, but how we handle them, that defines the strength of our bond," she explained. Her explanation was interspersed with gentle gestures, a slight tilt of her head, a reassuring nod, emphasizing that true partnership is forged in the crucible of honest, respectful dialogue. With the interview now evolving into a broader discourse on societal expectations, Usha recounted personal anecdotes from her early career. She recalled moments when her decisions, both professional and personal, were scrutinized under the relentless glare of public opinion. "There was a time when every choice I made was dissected, every personal detail magnified for the world to see," she said. "Yet through it all, I learned that strength is not measured by conformity, but by the courage to be authentic." Her narrative was not merely a defense of her life choices, but called to all who felt marginalized by the prevailing double standards. As the discussion continued, Usha began to articulate a broader vision, one that transcended the immediate question and touched upon the very fabric of public life. She challenged the host by asking, "Would you ever ask your partner if they regret standing by your side?" This rhetorical question, delivered with quiet intensity, was aimed squarely at exposing the inherent imbalance in how personal accountability is assigned based on gender. The studio audience responded with a mix of laughter, murmurs, and reflective silence, each person processing the weight of her words. Over the course of the next several minutes, the dialogue unfolded like a master class in poised resistance. Usha drew parallels between her situation and that of other high-profile political couples, carefully avoiding the mention of names, to illustrate how personal scrutiny often overshadows substantive political debate. She explained that the focus on her marital choices was not just an attack on her character, but a reflection of a larger societal trend where women, regardless of their achievements, are routinely expected to justify their personal decisions. In a particularly poignant segment, she described the sacrifices made by many women in politics. Every day, women are asked to choose between a successful career and fulfilling personal life, Usha said softly. But why should anyone's commitment be measured by their willingness to conform to outdated expectations? Her words, both reflective and challenging, struck a chord with viewers who had long felt the pressure of such dichotomies. At one juncture, the conversation took on an even more introspective tone as Usha delved into the transformative impact of her own journey. She recalled the early days of her career, when she first grappled with the tension between personal ambition and societal expectations. I remember feeling isolated, as if I were constantly fighting an invisible battle, she confided. But over time, I learned that embracing my full identity, both as a professional and as a partner, was the key to finding true balance. Her narrative was interspersed with thoughtful pauses, allowing the audience to absorb the full depth of her experience. Throughout this extended dialogue, the host made several attempts to regain control of the conversation, often circling back to topics of political strategy and policy debates. However, Usha's unwavering focus on the core issues, respect, equality, and the right to a private life free from relentless scrutiny, ensured that the conversation remained firmly in her control. We must ask ourselves, she proclaimed, if the relentless pursuit of sensationalism is worth sacrificing genuine dialogue and understanding. Her voice, steady and clear, was a rallying cry for those who believe in the power of honest debate over manufactured controversy. The extended discussion also saw Usha addressing the role of the media in shaping public perception. She criticized the tendency to exploit personal narratives for ratings and political gain, noting that such practices often obscure the important issues at hand. When we allow personal attacks to dominate the conversation, she argued, we lose sight of the policies and ideas that truly matter. Her critique was a pointed reminder that the media's focus on scandal, rather than substance, only serves to further entrench existing biases. As the interview neared its conclusion, the atmosphere in the studio had shifted from tension to reflection. The initial provocative question had given way to a deeper conversation about identity, respect, and the right to a personal life unburdened by unfair expectations. Usha summarized her thoughts with quiet conviction, stating, I stand by Senator Jonathan Daniel Vance and by the life we have built together, a life defined not by regret or concession, but by mutual respect, shared dreams, and unwavering commitment. Her declaration was both a personal affirmation and a broader statement against the double standards that continue to pervade public discourse. In the final moment of the interview, as the host's attempts to counter her arguments grew increasingly feeble, Usha's words resonated as a timeless lesson. The studio lights softened, and the camera captured the genuine admiration on the faces of the audience. It was clear that this conversation had transcended the boundaries of a conventional interview. It had become a clarion call for fairness, a reminder that strength is best demonstrated not through confrontation, but through the dignified assertion of one's truth. The session closed on a reflective note, with the host offering a tentative smile that hinted at newfound respect for Usha's perspective. Yet it was evident that the true victory belonged to Usha Vance. Her measured, articulate responses had not only dismantled the host's preconceived notions, but had also ignited a broader conversation among viewers. A conversation that would continue long after the studio lights were turned off. In the days that followed, clips from the extended interview circulated widely across social media, sparking debates, discussions, and even policy forums. People from all walks of life echoed Usha's sentiments, praising her for challenging the status quo and redefining what it means to stand by one's partner. Her response was hailed as a masterful blend of personal integrity and public advocacy, a beacon of hope for those tired of superficial narratives. This in-depth dialogue, spanning every aspect of the personal and political, ultimately redefined the very nature of televised interviews. It showcased that when individuals speak with authenticity and conviction, even the most loaded questions can be transformed into opportunities for meaningful change. The legacy of that day was not measured in ratings or fleeting headlines, but in the lasting impact of a conversation that dared to question and ultimately redefine societal norms. As the interview ended and the final credits rolled, one message remained clear. Genuine strength lies not in the loudness of one's voice, but in the clarity of one's convictions. Usha Vance had taken control of the narrative with remarkable poise, offering a profound lesson on the power of speaking one's truth. In that transformative moment, she not only defended her marriage with Senator Jonathan Daniel Vance, but also inspired countless others to stand up against double standards and demand a more respectful discourse. This powerful narrative continues to echo across conversations about gender, politics, and media, reminding us all that sometimes the most impactful response is a quiet, steadfast refusal to be confined by expectations.